I currently have a senior, a sophomore, a freshman, 8th grader, 2 4th graders, 2 2nd graders, and new to our homeschool, a kindergartner and a 2-year-old preschooler. Hey family, it's Danielle, and today I am going to share with you guys the difference between block scheduling and loop scheduling for homeschooling and which one we use. So if you're interested in learning more about block scheduling and loop scheduling, then stick around for the video.
The snob life, the homeschooling life,
the block life,
the non-traditional life,
the family life, telling it how it is,
life outside the box.
And if you don't know what that means,
it's the non-traditional mommy.
But before we jump into this video, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Danielle and I am the non-traditional mommy. And on this channel, we discuss homeschooling, parenting, marriage, and anything else that pertains to life. So if any of that is an interest of yours, I would love for you to consider joining my little family and hitting the subscribe button. To the rest of my non-traditional family, you are the MVPs and I love you bunches. Mwah. Now let's talk about the difference between block scheduling and loop scheduling. So I get asked a lot, how do I balance my schedule? How do I balance homeschooling multiple ages and multiple grades? What does our schedule look like? And all of those good questions. For those of you who are unaware, I currently have a senior, a sophomore, a freshman, 8th grader, 2 4th graders, 2 2nd graders, and new to our homeschool, a kindergartner and a 2-year-old preschooler. So that is currently what I have at home as far as homeschooling and the grades. And so as you can imagine, I get asked a lot, how do we balance homeschooling multiple grades and ages? And so I will get into that in just a second. So I use a combination of block scheduling and loop scheduling and what I like to consider non-traditional scheduling. So I will get into that in more details in just a second. But let's talk about the difference between block scheduling and loop scheduling. So block scheduling is when you take a block of time and you set it aside for a certain thing, in this case, a certain subject. So you will focus on that particular subject for a block of time. And so that can be for a certain amount of hours, for a week, for a month, for a semester, however you want to do it. So an example of that would be if you're going to take history, for example, you might set aside 90 minutes of the day where you focus on only history. Or you might say, for this week, we're going to focus on history, and then next week we'll focus on science, or so forth and so on. Or again, you could say first semester, we are only going to focus on history, and then second semester, we will focus on science. And so ultimately, you are taking a block of time and focusing in on one subject. Loop scheduling, on the other hand, is when you take several subjects and you loop them throughout a set amount of time. So again, for example, you might have 9 to 11 set aside for your schooling time, and then what you would do is get through however many subjects you can within that time frame. So for example, if history only takes 10 minutes to do, then you would do that for 10 minutes, then you would go into your science, do that for however long, then go into your math for however long, and then once 11 o'clock hits, you would stop, and wherever you left off at for that time, the next day you would pick up from that point and then continue going until your loop starts again. So I hope that makes sense, you guys. If you have more questions about block or loop scheduling, drop those in the comments now. But essentially, block scheduling is setting aside a block of time to focus on one type of subject, and loop scheduling is setting aside a block of time and focusing on as many subjects as you can within that time frame. And so that's the difference between the two. So for us, we use both. We use both block scheduling and loop scheduling. Starting with my high schoolers. So my high schoolers are 100% self-sufficient. Their school is 100% online this year. So typically they would do a co-op for some of their classes, but given Corona, we are still safe at home. So they are 100% online. And so with my high schoolers, I do not plan their schedule. They plan their schedule. That is their responsibility, and they figure out their schedule. I do not micromanage them. They do have a couple of classes that are live, so they know they have to be at those particular classes at a certain time. But there are other classes that are self-paced online. They figure out how to time manage and schedule their days. And the reason I do it that way, you guys, is because for 18 years of your life, you have someone that is telling you where to be, how to get there, what time to get there, what to do, checking in on you, and basically managing your time. And then all of a sudden you turn 18 and you're on your own. It's like, figure it out. Whether you're off to college or you're entering into the workforce, you basically have to figure out how to manage your time. And I find that a lot of us adults struggle with that as we get older and are on our own. And I think it's simply because we always had someone managing our time. And so with my high schoolers, what I have done is allowed them to manage their time while they are under our umbrella and in a safe space to make mistakes while they figure it out. So they basically manage their time, and then we have a team meeting, and I basically check their work, see what progress they made, let them know if they're ahead, behind, how much time they have left, and what their plan is, and then they figure out how to get it done. So I am basically hands off with my high schoolers, and they figure it out on their own. And of course, I'm not going to let them fail or fall behind too much, which is where those team meetings come in to try to keep them on track and those type of things. But I do allow them to manage their time. I do not micromanage them at all. So that's how it works for my high schoolers. With my 8th grader, I give him a little bit of rope with some subjects, but for the most part, he is still schooling a lot with me. So I am still managing his time most of the time, and he does spend a lot of time with me and the younger grades. And as far as all of my other grades from kindergarten to 4th grade, what I basically do is base them off of their skill. And so in other words, we have a time of day where we do circle time. In K through 8, we all sitting together, we're all going over, say, history. I use histories and sciences that can be used across multiple grades. And then I figure out a way to bring them down on levels for my younger grades and to bring them up for my 8th grader or my older kids based on their skill set. And so that's how I do history and science. I find curriculums that can be used across multiple ages and skill sets. So we will come together to do history and science, and then we'll break off for core subjects. But also, I don't focus on grade level or age, I focus on skill. So in other words, I may have a 4th grader who is on the same skill level as, say, my 8th grader, or they may be on a skills level as my 2nd grader, just depending on what subject we're doing, what concept we're learning. And so I will pair them together based off of skills in order to teach core subjects or core information and core skills. So that is how I do that when it comes to my younger grades. Currently, we are focusing on history for this semester, and then next semester we will focus on science. So that's one way that I use block scheduling. The other way that I use block scheduling is I set aside a block of time on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for our core subjects. So math, reading, and writing. And so for us, what my schedule looks like is on Mondays, we have math day. And so Monday, the block of time, we start school at 10 o'clock, and I personally school the kids until 1 o'clock. And then from 1 to about 4, depending on the day, my bigger kids school them. And I'll get into that in just a second. So from 10 to 1 o'clock, On Mondays, that block of time is for math. And I'll get into how loop scheduling fits into that in just a second. And then on Tuesday, that block of time is set aside for reading. And then on Wednesday, set aside for writing. And then Thursday and Friday, we loop. And so what my day looks like, what my scheduling looks like, is on Mondays, I take that time and I focus strictly on math core. So I will teach a lesson to, say, my kindergartners, my second graders. We will focus in on that. And then for my fourth grader and my eighth grader, I will focus in on them with whatever they are struggling with in their math course. So basically what our schedule will look like is on Monday, which is math day, my block of time is 10 to 1. And so I will focus on whatever math core they are learning. So for my kindergartner, we will sit down and go over numbers or things like that. Then I will do the same with my second grader. My fourth graders are using teaching textbooks for math. So I basically just go around and see if there's anything that they need additional help on or need me to explain in more detail. The same with my eighth grader. He's also using teaching textbooks. And so I will see if there's anything that he's struggling with or things that he needs to learn a little bit deeper. And I can also go into their grade book and see what grades they got over the past week, and I will know, okay, they need to maybe get a little more instruction on this particular skill. And so I spend that time focused on math. But let's say that takes me about an hour to do. So from 10 to 11, I focused on math. Everybody's good. Now I have from 11 to 1 to do a loop. And so what I will do is from 11 to 1, we will start our loop when it comes to writing, reading, spelling, and history. And so I will loop those things from 11 to 1. And then on Tuesday, I will focus on reading. So whatever concept we're learning with reading, focusing on phonics with my younger kids, focusing on proper nouns, things like that with my older kids. And again, I have that block of time from 10 to 1 to focus on reading. But if we get done with reading early, say reading takes from 10 to 12 on this particular day, well then from 12 to 1, I'm going to loop my other subjects. So I'm going to loop history, science, math, and writing. And then on Wednesday, we focus on writing. And so I'm again focusing on certain concepts that they are learning. And again, I do that during that block of time, and then I loop the rest. And then on Thursday and Friday, it's full loops. So we're looping everything. And so that's how I do our schedule. Now, what that does for me is it frees up my anxiety in trying to get the core subjects in. Because I know on Monday I have this huge block of time set aside to focus on just math, I'm not stressed out if on Tuesday I didn't get to teach a concept for math, because I know on Monday I have a huge amount of time to be able to focus on math. Now my kids do math every day because they do it online. So my fourth graders are going to do their teaching textbooks. My fourth and eighth graders are going to do their teaching textbooks. And then my K and second graders are going to do Splash Learn. So we use that program for them. So they're going to do math every day, but I'm not stressed about, oh, I forgot to teach, multiplication. I got to get this in, because I know on Monday I have a huge block of time to focus on it. And then I'm not stressed when it comes to the other subjects like history and science, because I know we're looping those things. And so we're going to get to it. If we don't get to it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, then Thursday and Friday, I'm able to loop those things on those particular days. I hope that makes sense, you guys. If it doesn't, or if you have other questions about it, please leave that below. But that's basically what I do. So it just allows me not to be stressed. Before, I tried like the traditional schooling where I would say from 8 to 8:30, we're going to focus on, spelling. And then from 8:45 until 9:30, we're going to focus on math, and so forth and so on. And what I found happening is I would have a dentist appointment at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. And then it would be, oh, we didn't get to math. on Tuesday and now we're behind, and I would be stressed out. Okay, well then Wednesday I'll do it. Well then Wednesday somebody else had a dentist appointment, or I had a impromptu meeting at 10 o'clock, and it's like, oh no, I didn't get to it at all this week, and it would just literally stress me out. But with block and loop scheduling, I know Mondays from 10 to 1 is for math. And so if I have an impromptu meeting that I have to do for work at 11 o'clock on a Monday, I know from 10 to 11 I can focus on math. I can go to my meeting at 11 o'clock, say it lasts for an hour, then from 12 to 1 I can continue to focus on math, or I can just go into a loop. And so I don't feel like I missed out on anything when it comes to that particular subject. Now, for our electives, art, music, and PE, before Corona, my younger kids would go out and they would either do a co-op or they would take classes for those things. But because, again, we are still safe at home, what we have decided to do this year is my older kids are teaching those subjects. So my 9th grader, who took piano for quite a while, is teaching them piano. And then my 10th grader, who is interested in possibly being a PE teacher, she has decided to allow this to be her trial and see if she would like it. And so she's created an entire PE curriculum for them guys, which is so cool to see her do. And she's working with them for PE. And then my senior is teaching guitar lessons. My 8th grader acts as a floater, so a lot of times he will help my 10th grader with PE lessons. He will help with art. Art is kind of free time for them so that they can allow their creative juices to flow, but he'll help assist with that and things like that. And so that's how we do that. And that starts at 1 o'clock every day. So at 1 o'clock they will start, they will have PE, and then they will have music. They'll pair off in groups and go to one music class, and then they alternate days. And then they will have art, which is free creative time for the rest of the day. So that could, you know, again, last till 4 o'clock, sometimes even longer. And so that's how we do the electives. So my teaching time is strictly between 10 and 1 o'clock. And after that, they go, yes, I will. They go to their electives. And so that is basically how we break our schedule up. Now, keep in mind, my high schoolers have to figure out their time. So they know that every day they have a class. So they have to manage that time in their head when they're also figuring out their own personal time. And so again, this is just a great way to help them with time management. And so again, with my kids, I don't focus on grade level or age level. I focus on skill set. So again, I pair them together based off of skill set. That's just more important to me than it is what grade they're in or how old they are. Because again, just because a child is in 6th grade doesn't mean they are on that particular grade level. When it comes to their skill, they may be higher, they may need be a little bit lower, and so I focus on skill set. To me, it's not about getting it at a certain age, it's about getting it when you need it. Because the truth is, you guys, nobody is like, at what age did you start doing multiplication? You know, I have not had anybody ask me, when did I start doing multiplication? As long as when I need to multiply, I can multiply. As long as when I need to divide, I can divide. I look at it the same way as potty training, walking, like when they need to walk, when they're ready to walk, when their muscles have reached that ability to do what they need to do, they will do it. And as long as they're doing it, by the time they need to be doing it, it's okay. Like, we're all good here, people. So I don't really stress as much like, oh, they're in the 8th grade and they're not doing such and such and such and such. Because I feel like when they are ready to get it, when their brains have matured and they have that muscle capacity to do something, they will do it. So I kind of take that unconventional thought when it comes to grade levels. So it's easier for me to pair my kids together because I'm not concerned over the fact that I might have an 8th grader sitting and working with something with a 4th grader. I'm not as much concerned with that. So yeah, that is how we do our scheduling, and that is the difference between block scheduling and loop scheduling. So my advice to you guys is, once again, just relax, figure out what type of scheduling works best for your school. It could be a combination of both. It could be one or the other. It could be traditional scheduling. It could be no scheduling at all. We look at this as routine and not so much scheduling. I use the scheduling for this video, but we consider it a routine. Like, these are our routines. We know when they wake up in the morning, they have a morning routine, and then we have a school routine, and then we have a night routine. And so it's kind of more routine for us than it is a schedule. And so that may work better for you. But to figure out what works for your family, and then to just relax, you guys. Relax. Enjoy this time as much as possible with your kids, because the reality is it goes by so fast. I am looking at my senior and I am just like, I wish somebody would have told me how fast school goes by, and to just really like roll around in every single age and phase of school with her and not stress so much with, is she reading yet? Is she doing her multiplication yet? You know, I'm there now when it comes to my kids now, but I hate that I missed so much of that with my high schoolers and was stressing so much with them because I was such a new homeschooler. So my advice is to relax and have fun and enjoy this process. Don't get caught up in the scheduling as much, you know, in the scheduling part. Don't get caught up in all of that, and to just relax and have fun. So what kind of scheduling are you currently using? Do you prefer block scheduling or loop scheduling? What do you think would work for your family? I would love to know in the comments below. If you guys have more questions on this, or would like to see any other video, please let me know in the comments below and I will get that done for you guys. If you're still here, that means you are now an MVP. So we need to make this thing official. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Here's your trophy. Welcome to the family. To the rest of my non-traditional family, I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye. Wait. Don't go yet. Don't go yet. If you would like to see some more videos about homeschooling, I will leave them here and here for you, and I'll meet you over there. Come on, let's go.